And then, bang, out of nowhere, there's a message from Voldemort. All of the Death Eaters apparate into the wedding, and there's just kind of like chaos. Kind of like, I think it feels as if the war really has begun now, and like nowhere's safe.
They are coming. They are coming.
Obviously, Hermione, Harry, and Ron have to get out of there.
As Voldemort's presence and dominance is growing, Malfoy Manor becomes the heartbeat of his operations. Home to Harry's nemesis Draco and his once powerful family, who have suffered a dramatic fall from grace. This is the first time we've seen Draco's family home. Its stunning Jacobean features were inspired by Hardwicke Hall in Derbyshire, which was once described as one of the most splendid houses in England. And who would guess that much of this panelling and detail was actually made from foam? But all of this grandeur counts for nothing if you've fallen out of favour with the Dark Lord.
What about you, Lucius? My lord?
I start off so full of hope, Lucius. You know, Voldemort has chosen my house to be his headquarters, and it's just having the king in your own house is a ringing endorsement.
I require your wand.
Within about 2 seconds, it all turns completely pear-shaped when he takes my wand off me. You don't take a wand off a wizard in public. It's just not appropriate. And then he snaps it, and I think he's going to kill me, and it all just turns into my worst nightmare and goes downhill from there.
And that very public fall from grace is horrific for the Malfoys and for...
It's emasculating for me, and it's what it is the moment where it becomes clear to me that he does not see a place for me in the future, in this new world that he's going to create if he wins.
Let's talk about Voldemort and what his plans are. What's he been up to and what's he trying to get out?
He's up to his old tricks again, Ben. I hate to say it, but he hasn't turned around. He's still pursuing the art of darkness. Well, much the same, obviously. He's obsessed with getting rid of the young wizard Harry.
As inspiring as I find your bloodlust, Bellatrix, I must be the one to kill Harry Potter.
It's going to be interesting. There's a few scenes, again, that I don't want to say too much, but it has had me close to believing that this is actually a real thing. He murders some people in some very, very
gruesome ways.
Yeah, I don't even know the right words for it.
If I am to kill him, I must do it with another's wand.
It's a strange time, certainly for myself, because I'm not used to seeing all these things out in the public, and lots of very undesirables roaming around my house. I don't pick generally the prettiest people to play Death Eaters. No offence to any of them who are out there. They're gorgeous in real life, but they make them wear all sorts of teeth. And so, yeah, it's a little daunting, even for Tom the actor, let alone Draco, the young boy.
The first scene he's in is terrifying, which actually takes place on this set. Is really, really scary. I mean, I came down to watch a bit of the filming. I left quite quickly because it was taking a long time, but the bit I saw was really scary. Yeah, no, it'll be good for people to see what people have been running, what all these characters have been running from for so many years.
I have seen your heart, and it is mine.
Harry, Ron and Hermione are hiding out here in Grimmauld Place, the former HQ to the Order of the Phoenix, once owned by Sirius Black, Harry's godfather, and now belonging to Harry himself. And it's here that they're reunited with Kreacher, the rather curmudgeonly house elf, who is very upset to find he's now in Harry's service, and as such is charged with a very important mission. He is tasked with finding the whereabouts of a Horcrux disguised as a locket. This scene also sees the return of the much-loved Dobby. They look so realistic, these house elves, that it's hard to believe they don't actually exist. But at the heart of these state-of-the-art CGI creatures is a very human element.
It was very important that we had actors to play Dobby and Kreacher.
You've been spying on us, have you?
We asked them to come along during all of the filming, so when the whole scene was shot, so that David could work very closely with them, and we could kind of develop the personalities and characteristics of the house elves in each scene, which felt quite important to actually know how the other actors are going to interact with them. Even though obviously they're not the right size, having them there to actually give a performance was really important. So we filmed a rehearsal with each of them on camera, so we had reference of where they were. And then we had body doubles to play the house elves, basically, so that there were eye lines available on the set. Not of the correct height or proportions, but small enough to give all of the other actors a sense of where they were in space and moving around. We then removed them from the plate and obviously replaced them with the CG creature and CG Dobby.
Master Weasley, so good to see you again.
Wicked trainers.
Dobby and Creature reveal that the locket is now in the possession of Dolores Umbridge, their former teacher and arch-enemy, who is now working as Senior Undersecretary at the Ministry of Magic. The question is, how do they get to it? After the break, we're going inside the Ministry of Magic. And, get this, for the first time ever, we're going to be allowed to show you how they make the flying sequences, and I'm going to get to have a go. See you in a bit. We've come behind the scenes of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, where Harry, Ron and Hermione are searching for Horcruxes, objects that will help them destroy the evil Lord Voldemort. One of them is in the possession of their old enemy, Dolores Umbridge, here at the heavily guarded Ministry of Magic. So, Dolores Umbridge has the locket that Harry, Ron and Hermione must steal, which is a bit of a nightmare, really, because she's working at the Ministry of Magic, which, of course, is crawling with Death Eaters. So, they need to find a cheeky way in, because they can't go in the usual routes, and they certainly can't go in as themselves.
We take Polyjuice Potion to become other people. We become 3 other people that we don't know really anything about, but we know they work in the Ministry.
A little bit of Polyjuice Potion and a sneaky back door is what they need. Fortunately, there's a very convenient entrance in a very unusual place. Do I flush? You may remember that the last time we saw the Ministry of Magic in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, it was blown to smithereens. For this film, the set was painstakingly rebuilt to exactly the same specification, with one exception: this statue, which reflects the dark times in which this film is set. The design of the statue was influenced by several historical sculptures, particularly from Soviet Russia and pre-war Germany, and shows the oppression of the Muggles, or non-wizarding folk. That's you and me, in other words. There are around 50 of these figures, and each took 2 weeks to handcraft. They were all made by one man. There's 3 characters who work in the Ministry that we've never seen before, necessarily. Yep. Suddenly, you guys are impersonating them. Polyjuice, yes. You become them.
Yes.
So someone was being you, being themselves.
Yes. It is odd, because we were sort of then, me, Rupert and Emma have consultancy roles behind the monitor.
Do you get a proper seat?
I think if I get proper seats anyway, you're getting on a day-to-day level.
Let's take the star seats out of it. Do you get, like, consultants to...
No, unfortunately, we didn't. I'm definitely angling for an extra credit, though.
Even if you're in the know, all this polyjuicing stuff is quite tricky to get your head around.
Got it! That's Ron! Yes!
So let's take this really slowly.
So there's this little character called Mafalda, who's a really little secretary, and she's the one that Hermione gets in. So really, I'm a sort of flamboyant costume.
So essentially, right now, you are channeling...
I'm channeling, yeah.
Hermione... So it's Hermione being you... No, it's you being Hermione being you.
Yeah, no, it's me being Mafalda, then being Mafalda's body with Hermione in.
It's really straightforward.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it too much.
David, you are Dan, you are Harry, you are... I can't quite... I'm getting lost in who's who.
You're not the only one. I'm playing Albert Runcon, and Dan takes his body over and pretends to be him in order to get into the Ministry of Magic.
You're actually impersonating Dan being Harry, but as yourself.
Yes.
Is that kind of what you're breaking it down to the essence of?
I'm impersonating. Could you just say that again?
You're being Dan, who's Harry, being you.
Dan, who's Harry, being me. Correct.
So is
but
it...
I'm being my character being Dan, who's playing Harry, who's playing Runcon, who's playing you.
Right.
Did you get that?
No. And in terms of that as a challenge for an actor,
Oh, gosh, it's complicated to explain who I am. I'm actually Ron Weasley, as in I am Ron Weasley, but Ron Weasley for my sequences looks like this.
That's bloody disgusting.
We've had Rupert Grint down, sometimes running through the scenes before I do it, and I get to watch him and then watch him on camera as well, see what he does, and just try and do it like, well, a bit like Rupert would do it, but also how I interpret Ron as doing it. There's just something about the way he moves. It's quite low. I think that's kind of youth, really. You know, he's quite. I'm more kind of up here and trying to stand straight, yes. And he's got that low centre of gravity, and he moves his shoulders kind of quite solidly. And he does a lot of looking up like that.
That's fascinating. and has he engaged with that? Has he kind of said, this is really eerie, I feel like you're doing me far too well?
No, he hasn't. Not at all. He looks a bit oddly at me now.
I don't do that.
One mustn't tell lies.
I actually prefer myself played by this kind of real tough guy.
Scottish.
David's quite tough and he's Scottish.
You're right, he's carrying that off, but he stupefies in a very dramatic way.
He stupefies in a much more dramatic way. He sounds like he's saying Superfly when he says stupefy, which I enjoy.
Stupefy! Deep in the bowels of the Ministry are a cluster of courtrooms that are playing host to a witch hunt, or rather a non-witch hunt, because the Ministry is on a desperate bid to purge society of anyone who isn't pure blood. And what's terrifying about this situation is that evil is now at the heart of everything that was once good. And it is here that Harry, Ron and Hermione find Professor Umbridge wearing the locket that they're seeking.
A wand was taken from you upon your arrival at the Ministry today, Mrs. Cattermole. Is this that wand?
A very intense scene happening just there. Can you just explain what was going on?
Yes, well, she's back on form, Dolores, in film 7, I think we're on, trying poor Mary Cattermole for not being a witch. So all those trials years ago for witches, trials. This is because you're not a witch. She's on trial.
Is it loyalty to Voldemort that she has, or is it just authority and power that she loves?
I think she loves power, authority, and purity. And these people are not pure, and she's still trying to weed out the impure.
And that is sort of what Voldemort's all about as well, though, isn't it? So she is dark like that.
Yes, she's dark.
While these films are renowned for their spectacular sets, sometimes only the real thing will do. And Harry Potter does nothing by halves.
You do have to watch the moment where we shut down Piccadilly Circus for the first time in 32 years.
Extraordinary as it is to imagine, the Harry Potter team shipped into Piccadilly Circus 500 extras who played the passers-by, 35 cars, 15 black cabs, 1 limo, 5 buses, 1 police car and 2 rickshaws. They were joined by 500 crew, and they did this for 2 nights running. Unbelievable.
They actually closed the whole kind of Piccadilly Circus.
That must have been surreal.
Yeah, I mean, there was no kind of real people. There was all kind of extras and that. They kind of filled it with people.
Background action! Many, many years ago, I was a location manager. Someone had said to me, OK, we need to film in Piccadilly Circus. I would have said, OK, we better get someone else then, because I don't think I would have taken it on. It was a huge, huge undertaking. But they managed to get everyone on the side, all the shopkeepers on the side, the police on the side, the council on the side, and close the streets, and there we were.
Not only did they close the streets, they also persuaded the local businesses to leave their lights on for the filming, to keep it looking as realistic as possible.
It was really cool, actually, yeah. And they had all these kind of, had their own, like, buses, double-decker buses going through. It was a mad day, yeah, but it was good.
The scene shows Harry, Ron and Hermione apparating into central London as their journey continues.
First of all, we stop at a cafe and...
Everything starts with a latte.
Absolutely.
Go. Leave.
Actually, there's a thing in there for people like me, spotters of sort of insignificant trivia, but there's in the cafe scene, you'll have to probably work quite hard to find it, but there is, on the wall, there is an Equus poster.
Is there really?
Yeah, because I knew we were supposed to be filming, this part of the scene supposed to take place near Shaftesbury Avenue, and so I just sort of couldn't, like, resist. It's a really self-indulgent joke, but I just thought, it would just be really funny if I don't know really why.
As I know, Dan, often the best parts of any film are the hardest parts to see, like my part in the last film. 24 frames of magic.
Yeah.
But the people that know find it.
The people that look for it find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.